Hi guys, Dave here, Dave's LFC Chats. I've got a legend with me today, a legend on the show, Ross Chandley from Redmen TV. How are you, Ross?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Well, I mean, it's crazy, as you know yourself, this lockdown, this COVID-19. How are you coping with it? It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the longer it goes on, I think the more we're all adjusting to doing it. I think, everybody's struggling in their own way and everyone's got their own personal issues that are going on. But, I was sure we're going to kind of speak about it. I think yesterday was, the news that football was coming back was just a huge sense of relief. And I said it earlier on the news show that it's invested interest for me because it's my job. So, like many other people who've struggled for the past 2 months and, worried about the job, worried about money, being furloughed, if we're dead lucky that I haven't been, but, if it went on any longer, the chances are that it probably would have happened. So, for us in our job, for, the content to come back to get to some sort of normality, I've not soaked it up as a fan yet. I don't think it's just like a massive weight off the shoulders and go, okay, so we go back to some sort of whatever normal will be and making content and things. So
I mean, will it ever be really not back to normality, say pre-March? Probably not. But
well, it's not just football, is it? I don't know what normal life is anymore. So we can't expect football to go back to normal. But in terms of work and making content and something that we clearly took for granted. Of just doing it, being relentless on a weekly basis, and we're really lucky to watch a really good Liverpool side. To have that taken away, I always said when it's the end of the season, you can mentally prepare, you can switch off. You're the same, doing all these videos and talking to people, and you can go right, calm down, transfer window, I can prepare. Whereas this is different because it's like we were in the thick of it, and it's just stop. What you do with yourself then? You need to think of other ways to make content, and you don't want to make content for the sake of making content. And we had to kind of rediscover what people wanted, the interest hasn't been there. So to try and do I do my play ratings articles and I try to do an Istanbul one, and the beauty of football is to have the conversations afterwards. What just happened in that game, because every game is different. Whereas people are interested in the game, that they already know what's happened, they know the outcome, they know the stories. It's difficult. So to get that
I think what you can have a problem as if you regurgitate stuff or you go over stuff 2 or 3 times, people do get a bit, I don't know. I think it's when the football's on and when they're looking forward to next week or last week and they're talking about it and it's in their mind, that's when, as you know, being Redmen TV.
It's the build-up as well of having the conversations of who do you think is going to start, people's fall, what centre-back's going to go and play. And you think you're right, you regurgitate an old game. Well, you know who started, you know what happened. It's just not the same. So to have that back's going to be phenomenal.
But obviously, as you just hit on the note there, Project Restart, September, what is it, 17th of June, I think is the start date. I think it's right. They've been taking it, they've been doing it right. There's no easy answers to this. This is not going to be easy. Even when it gets up and running, it's still going to, I still think there's going to be 1 or 2 issues because it's just unusual. I mean, we can look at the Bundesliga, which helps. We can take ideas from them. I'm sure the Premier League are, keeping their eye on the Bundesliga. They seem to be doing a good job. But what do you think of the whole Project Restart? Do you think it's the proper thing to do?
I think so. Personally, I don't see the rush. I see the rush because I needed to come back for my job. But as a fan, I know UEFA put a deadline out and said, listen, you need to have competitions sorted so we can sort out next season competitions. But, I'm under no illusion that, with government guidelines and the investment that they've got, that, being a football in Premier League is probably one of the safest places you can be right now. They're getting tested 2 or 3 times a week. Do you know what I mean? We don't have access to that. So, if it's safe first and foremost, if it's not distracting from or taking, things away from the NHS or, policing where it could be used elsewhere, then, I'm kind of fine with that. What I don't want it to be, and I know, again, I said this on the news, people don't like politics being mixed up with football, but I think sometimes they do go hand in hand. I don't want this to be, things haven't gone very well, with the past 2-3 weeks, so I won't go into that, but then go, here's the football to distract everyone. Football's been thrown under the bus over the past month or so on what they should do. I don't want it to distract, there's still the bigger picture thing of, there's still people dying, a lot of people dying on a daily basis, which is so much more important than football to people just to go, well, there's a big shiny football thing, let's go and get distracted all by that. When, there is bigger issues that are going on, but, the Project Restart, it was fine, it's safe. Like you said, there's, unfortunately, it comes down to financial decisions as well. If, whether football clubs can survive. I think the ecosystem of football, it affects me, my job, other journalists, it's on a massive scale. It's not just, when people say football stopped, it's not just 11 lads kicking a football around. It's like taxi drivers, pubs, clubs, food vendors. It's just absolutely huge what football affects and people's jobs and livelihoods. So, I do sympathise with them. They've got to strike some sort of balance of safety, but also people's livelihoods and the financial implications that come with it. So, I think you're right. The Bundesliga has shown that it can be done. It can be safe. Learn from that and take it forward. And if things don't go right, then they don't go right.
What do you think of the Bundesliga? Have you watched any of it with the no crowd, like the no fans? It's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
I've only seen glimpses of it. When it first came on, I wasn't well at all, so I missed all the Bundesliga. I did catch 10 minutes of the K League, which was, I think, a couple of weeks before. Yeah. And they angled the camera where you couldn't see the crowd, so you could see the pitch and you could just see the advertising hoardings on the side, and they pumped crowd noise in, so you wouldn't know any different. You'd watch the TV and stuff like that. You don't know any different. So I think it's a learning curve for broadcasters as well and what they can do to improve it. I think I understand it's difficult for footballers and being motivated because as a local fans, we know very well how much difference the crowd can make. I think in terms of people that are in a relegation battle, I think it's huge for them not to have their crowds because they can make a huge difference. Like so Sheffield United, Wolves, that are, they're going for European spots. The 12th man for them is equally as important as it is for us. So I think it's going to be strange, but like we said before, it's going to be the new normal. It's something, we don't like it, but what would you rather have? Would you rather have
null and void?
Well, exactly. Or the past 2 months of having no football. For another 2 months. Well, I can't afford for that to happen because I probably, I won't have a job. Or would you rather have football back in some capacity and you can watch it? And I think this is slightly different to the Bundesliga because you've got invested interest. You're watching your club and you're watching all the drama that you watch on a weekly basis again with the relegation battles, European spots and teams that that you're familiar with. I think it's going to be slightly different to the Bundesliga, where it's just the Bundesliga was just an excuse to watch football, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Bundesliga was like an experiment. We have nothing invested in it really. Maybe Timo Werner for life. But other than that, to me it was just how will they do it? What way are they going to do it? I think they're using the 5 substitutes. I'm not sure in Germany, but I know in the Premier League they will be, which is important.
Yeah.
Injuries and stuff like that. I think there was a few injuries in the Bundesliga the first week because they haven't played.
But equally, we're having 2 months off. People are getting players back that wouldn't have played anyway. Alisson was a massive injury for us. We're going to have Alisson back. And yesterday I spoke to someone about recovery. Liverpool and everyone else are going to have the biggest break that they've had in over 2 years. If you go back to not this season but 2 seasons before, long run in the Champions League in Kiev, got straight into a World Cup, then straight into the new season. I think last season we finished on June the 1st because we had the Champions League final. By the time you've done all that, and then they had the dancing on ice Euro qualifier, whatever they decided to call it, and then the glorified friendlies.
Nations League.
That's the one. And then you're back into pre-season again. So, it's not the same as having a proper break where they can go on holiday and they can switch off. Well, this is the biggest rest that Mo Salah, Sadio Mane have had in 2 or 3 years.
They should be embracing it, loving it.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, and again, it's not a proper break. But they'll be chomping at the bit to go back to football. It's also the obvious that they won't want to play football for as well. So us as fans are down to watch football. This is what they do for a living. So I'm guessing they're desperate to get back on that football pitch. They've had to wait for the Premier League title, but they've had a chance to build it up and go potentially one game, and it's ours.
Yeah, it could be one game because as we know, City play Villa or is it Arsenal.
Arsenal,
City play Arsenal, which is you never know.
Well, that's it's interesting. It's not outside the realms of possibility. It could happen anyway, but it's also interesting to see how teams come back. How all the teams are prepared for this. If Arsenal go, have regrouped, they've had their own problems over the past 2, 3, 4 seasons maybe, to kind of regroup, get fit, work on tactical process. They've got a relatively new manager who knows Man City very well.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, we can work this out. It's not outside the realm. Well, I'm not hanging any hope on Arsenal, and that's not to disrespect Man City. Are just a very good side. So, Pep Guardiola's one of the best in the world. You expect the Man City to be well drilled as well. So.
But I'm sure Everton will probably be saying the same thing about us. They can't beat us. And you know what I mean? You come back after such a weird, surreal Twilight Zone sort of break. I think any result's nearly possible because it's got to be so weird. Do you not think there'll be a few weird results?
Yeah, up and down. Yeah, I think someone made a point yesterday. I think in the German league, in the Bundesliga, there's only been a couple of home wins, and a lot of them have been away. So it's not really made that much of a difference. Again, it comes down to, and Liverpool are big on this, and we speak about this quite a lot, is the mentality of these lads that they've got. And Liverpool are in a position now where what they've won, what they've achieved, the manager that they've got, their mentality. They could play on Stanley Park and they should be able to win a game of football. You like to think so, but again, at Everton, new manager, tactical process, the build up, regrouping. There's advantage and disadvantage for everyone. I think, and just psychologically, you play Jordan Pickford, then for me the game's done. Yeah, exactly. He can't play against Liverpool. If you're gonna play, just play Divock Origi and stand him next to Jordan Pickford for the whole game. Fine. Yeah.
But the dream of actually winning the league for 30 years wait against Everton in the Mersey, that is part of a dream now, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine all the Everton fans are going to be disappearing. We won't hear from them for a while and stuff, and they want to put an end to it. I think there's already a lot of anger that this season is going to continue from Everton fans. And
I've seen that on Twitter. There's a lot of anger on Twitter.
Yeah, I do think it's just to please Liverpool, but that's from any fan base that is doing poorly. From the start of this. I think it was Karen Brady played the cards pretty early.
Yeah, West Ham, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're in a relegation battle. Obviously, you're going to say that. Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester United all having poor seasons, Everton having a poor season. You're going to want null and void. I'd speak to Sheffield United. Do they want null and void? No, because they've got a chance of Europe. Wolves, Leicester, all these teams that, are having good seasons.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own agenda. I want to continue like Liverpool. Okay, so Liverpool's the easy bit in all this. Null and void was taken off the table a couple of weeks ago. So whether it's points per game, it's done on half the season. If you end it now, whatever way you look at it, and you carry on, Liverpool are going to win this league.
Yeah.
Or whatever happens. So I want it to continue because I want Sheffield United to get into Europe. I want Wolves to get Europe. I want to see a relegation battle. I want those teams, a Norwich or a Bournemouth, to have the chance to get out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
If it's possible for them, because that seems the only fair way to go and do it. And people seem to think if you null and void it, that means that it's fine. All of a sudden it goes away. Whatever happens, next season is going to be affected.
Yeah. It makes it actually a mockery next season, even before it starts.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm particularly now thinking it came up to the FA Cup's going to continue in August. So the season normally starts around the 12th, 13th, 14th of August.
Yeah.
I suspect it'll start back up in September, maybe.
I think I just heard there about an hour ago that the FA Cup, they're going to play the quarters end of June, the semis in July, and the final the first week in August.
Yeah. So and then if you do that, then at least there's at least a 4-week break for players to have in the whole of August. So I'm just speculating here. Nothing's been confirmed, but I suspect it might start back up in September, and whether crowds are allowed or limited crowds, or again come back to the normality, things are going to be very different for a long time, I suspect.
Yeah, because I can't see fans at Anfield. I don't think next season. I just don't see it this side of Christmas anyway. I can't see it.
No, and it comes back to the financial implications of I think there's some arguments with broadcasters of Sky and BT saying they're not getting the product that they're paying for. If you're paying Sky and BT, you're not getting the product that you're paying for.
I am Sky and BT.
Exactly. So
there you go.
Yeah, and the good thing is to discourage fans from going out to these games. I think there's a lot of free to air on BBC getting 4 games, Sky getting some. I suspect Sky will keep some of the bigger games for the people that are paying the big money for it. But I think the Merseyside Derby is one of the ones that is free to air. So I think that's the argument that's come out of these fixtures that are going to be played in neutral venues. I think there's 6 fixtures, but Man City, a couple of Man City games, a Man United game, and a couple of Liverpool games that apparently Northerners can't be trusted to.
That's right. I seen some police thing, wasn't it? That they're going to have to use them as special games that they can't just.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's a very dated opinion that footballers can't be trusted. And again, I said this before. Is it a repercussion of what's happened in the past couple of months of lockdown, of people going to beaches and parks and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they've kind of gone with they can't risk. Ultimately it's people's safety. But you speak to a lot of Liverpool fans, Dave. I speak to them and see them on Twitter and YouTube channels and stuff like that. I don't know anyone that said I'm going to go to Anfield, or I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. And there's Liverpool fans up and down this country. Ireland's massive for having a Liverpool fan base. Obviously no mirrors. So everyone's saying let's go to a pub, let's go and meet here, let's go and do that. We've had 2 months to prepare for this. I live by myself. I'm going to have to celebrate a Premier League title by myself, and I'm fine with that because I'm not fine with it, but I have to be fine with it because it's the safest things to do. So,
I hope the champagne is on ice, Ross.
Yeah. Don't you worry, mate. Yeah, I'm going to swing
probably do a big Zoom call though.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably be live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we might be working, so we might have a chance to celebrate with the lads in the studio, or like said in a living room, swinging my top round and celebrate.
I did that for the Newcastle goal last year.
Oh yeah, I mean it's got to be done, and we had loads of input from fans on who send us messages on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and say like that flag behind you. Put your flag outside your window and show your support for Liverpool, or go out and do this. And, everything that's been suggested has been sensible and within the rules of lockdown. So it just feels a bit dated that, they suggested that these games have got to be in neutral venues. I think I'd be fine with it if they said every game in the Premier League that continues will be in a neutral venue. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Or everyone's at home, I'm fine with that. But to have, like you said, a handful of games where it's like, no, you can't be trusted to do that. Come and do somewhere else. It's just a bit stupid for me.
I hope the Tories aren't involved in that.
No, God, no.
You never know. Never know.
Possibly.
A political decision. Yeah. But probably not. Comings and goings. That's all. That's the one. But I seen you. Were you on BBC yesterday with Dion Dublin and a few lads? I thought I seen you. Yeah. How did you get on with that?
That's real. Well, I think they asked Chris to do it. Chris couldn't do it because in a charity poker game. So he asked me if I wanted to do it, so I said yeah. But really nice guys, really affable, really personable. Had a bit of a laugh with them and just discussing what you spoke about really. And it's one of the signs of, I said last night, it was just a huge sense of relief. Like stuff like that's going to come through and people are going to start getting excited and talk about football again. And, with anything in lockdown, I probably discovered how bored I am because, it's similar to you. Like football's my life. Like it's all I talk about instead of football. It's like
it's even more your life really because I work a day job. Your job is Redmen. You know what I mean? Simplest. I've seen you in the studio and stuff.
To have a conversation with someone, I go to have a conversation. And go, I've got nothing to say to you because there's no football on, so I don't know what to talk about. So last night was a really good experience, and it was well looked after, and they were really nice and stuff like that. So to have a conversation on a Thursday night with Pat Nevin, Chris Waddle and Dion Dublin wasn't the worst Thursday night that I've ever had.
It's nice to have in your CV, as they say.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. So I enjoyed that. So, but yeah, again, they're getting excited about the football again. So yeah.
But the thing about it is, before we go, 30 years. I was 17 I've given away my age now. I was 17 when Liverpool won the league, 1990.
Yeah.
And I just never thought when they won it then that it'd be 30 years. Just no one would have. A United fan actually said to me around mid-90s, 95, says, you won't win the league for another something like 20 years at the time. And I was, slagging him in the pub. But
it just shows how quickly things can change. And, we're on the upscale now. But if you look on the flip side, you mentioned Manchester United. Like exactly. They're way off the mark. And I think you take into other things into consideration of, we've come close a few times, but then, 20 years ago, you'd never taken into account of, Chelsea getting bought out and, they were always competitive in the mid to late 90s. Yeah. Now, since they got bought out and they just went on a different scale. Manchester City, 10, 15 years ago, were never on the scale that they're on now. So we've had to try and compete with different things. And obviously, us going through the Roy Hodgson, terrible owners, and coming back. Liverpool have come a long way. You look at the Hodgson stuff. Okay, what was it, 8, 9, 10 years ago?
About 10 years ago. Yeah. I did a video with Chris Pajak last year, and he said the same thing. He says, you don't know how close Liverpool were to literally imploding. Imploding.
Exactly. And just before, the Hodgson time when Rafa was there, we nearly won the league under Rafa. Literally 2, 3 seasons before Hodgson, they all went wrong, and Hodgson left, and in 13, 14, obviously we nearly won it again. So things can change very quickly in football, but I think Liverpool, we've seen in the past 2, 3 seasons, are just on that progression where they're just going up, and hopefully, this COVID-19 hasn't halted that progression, and it's kind of a level playing field because everybody's in the same boat. It's not Liverpool just stop playing football. Everybody stopped playing football, so
But even looking at, say, transfers, and you're talking about going on to a different level. Obviously, Timo Werner is everyone's talking about Timo Werner. I wouldn't even talk about Koulibaly. I wouldn't even talk about Adama Traore. I think he's been linked. But Werner, surely, they got to get Werner. I mean, got to get him.
I think Dave Maddock, who's a good friend of the show for us, we kind of
I seen that tweet yesterday.
Yeah, he kind of poo-pooed that story. But again, we've seen this before. With Virgil van Dijk stuff, Liverpool pulled out. Liverpool aren't interested in this player. Who's the goalkeeper? Danny Ward's going to be Liverpool's number one. 2 days later, Alisson through the door. So it wouldn't surprise me, if Liverpool go for this. I think things are up in the air because of the financial implications that have happened. Liverpool obviously, were attempting to furlough their staff. They're losing money on a weekly basis in the sense that they're not getting people through the 54,000 people through the door week in, week out. So I think something has to give. But for me, it's not the end of the saga. It's just all part of the transfer dance of, we know what Michael Edwards is capable of. And by the end of it, would surprise you if Leipzig are paying us to take Werner off him. Imagine that man can do. So I suspect it will go on for a long time. I think you're right. Werner's the one. He's versatile. He's young. His goal record speaks for itself. He's not just a case of I think being a backup for the front three. I think it's a rotational thing. Playing
He's German. He's
German. I was playing 2-3 games a week though. You think if you give Salah a rest instead of having to play him because Shaqiri's not good enough or Ree's not good enough, what do you then get out of Mo Salah? I was saying to him, you're playing 2 games this week, not 3. Give me everything you've got for these 2 games. Then you can have midweek off, mate, and you've got some of Werner's capability of coming in and filling in for him. I think it's phenomenal. I think it also depends on outgoings. Shaqiri might be on his way out if the Newcastle takeover happens. That's a completely different story. You've got Harry Wilson, Divock Origi. What's happening with all these people? Lallana, Curtis Jones is coming into the fold. Harvey Elliott's probably going to be knocking on. All these youngsters will get more experience between now and the end of the season because if the league's done, we can play Curtis Jones for 90 minutes. You can play Harvey Elliott for an hour. Do you know what I mean? It all builds up. So it'd be interesting to see it. And Liverpool didn't spend any money really, did they, last season or this season? Whatever it is anymore.
Last season, we only bought an Adrian and Elliott last summer after winning the European Cup.
And a Minamino.
We bought Minamino, who hasn't even kicked the ball. So he's another player.
So and he's another player that we don't know where he's going to play yet. He could be one of those players that plays out wide. So
he could do brilliant in these games. Him and Naby Keita. There's 2 players that haven't really.
Yeah. And this period might be good for Naby Keita to put injuries behind, kind of build himself up and stuff like that. We might see the player that we all watched for a season.
I watched them that time we'd signed them from Leipzig, but we hadn't got him for a year. I watched most of the games and he was unbelievable in those games.
Yeah, and it's probably about a confidence thing. I think we're all quick as well because you think of someone who's so young. Imagine you go into a different country where you don't speak the language, you don't know anyone really. You've got to adjust to your surroundings, the culture, the food, kind of being on your own as well as trying to the pressure of playing for Liverpool Football Club. People don't think about that. You talk about Twitter, and Twitter isn't the most reasonable place for a reasonable argument. But you see on a weekly basis when he starts or he has a bad game of. Fans are just so quick to just slag him off and shoot him down.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're only as good as your last game. I think that seems to be. Remember Suarez when he came into Liverpool?
Yeah.
The first he came in, I think it was in January. But that 6 months were weird. I even was listening to people saying get rid of him. He was missing open goals.
Yeah.
He scored, but he was always busy. But the next season he just exploded. Remember?
Yeah, football fans are really fickle, aren't they? But also I think I understand the frustration with Naby Keita because of what you just said. You watched him for a year. He's built up to be this amazing player and it hasn't kicked off. I think Liverpool fans want to see that, and there's still people that are going about like a Coutinho replacement who haven't replaced him. I think Naby Keita and Chamberlain are supposed to be that replacement, and because he hasn't kicked on, we're winning games. We're 25 points clear. What's the moan about?
It's absolutely
and
ridiculous.
Talk about the Hodgson era. The people are probably moaning.
Please don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
please
don't go back to that and then have a moan, and I'll understand. But to be 25 points clear, world champions, European champions, about to win the Premier League, there is nothing really to moan about, is there?
No, it's at the moment. Last season, even since I know we got beaten in the 2018, but even since then, we got beaten in the League Cup final by City on penalties. Remember, we got beaten in Europa League final against Sevilla. But we're always, we were playing good football. We were great to watch. We've been unbelievable since Klopp really has come in.
Yeah. And the sad thing took over as well. I think there's only really Lallana, Henderson and Lovren and Milner probably that are left.
Yeah, that's it.
To see the change in where we come is huge.
Unbelievable. And you've the night deal as well. We won't even have time to talk about that.
No.
That's another.
Well, that's the other thing. You're right though. Off the pitch, the night deal, the Kirby training facility. They've expanded the main stand. They were going to do Anfield Road, but that's obviously been delayed. Now they're getting things right off the pitch as well. So it's all good.
Yeah, commercially and stuff, we've come on, because we were, for years, we're way behind United.
Yeah.
We're catching up with United now. They've done a really good job there because they've been crap on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, you know what I
And
mean?
off the pitch, you know, the record debts and stuff like that, you know.
This year, yeah. Right, Ross, that has been absolutely brilliant. I'll let you go back to doing your Chris Painter cooking behind you.
Okay, yeah, it's the next one.
But safe going for you, your family, and the Redmen TV, of course. And I hope to talk to you again, my friend. Stay safe.
Thank you for having me, Bye.
Cheers.